Hello, my loves. I'm back. It's Wake Up Wednesday, and I am really loving this new way of connecting with you over this video series. We're in the third part of a 4-part series. If you haven't watched the first 2 videos, I highly recommend it before today's because it will really help you to make sense of what I'm about to talk about. Speaking of which, what I had planned to begin with is not what I'm going to share today. I'm actually in devotion to what we've committed to together, sharing, living out loud, and being raw and vulnerable and real. I'm going to keep it really real today. But before I do share that, I want to tell you what we're going to talk about. And that is the fact that so often we have resources, we know what to do, and we do nothing about it. Instead, we continue to feel anxious or overwhelmed, and we do nothing. We continue to sit in it or let the same pattern repeat itself. And today I want to share with you the resources that I use when this is coming up in my life. So first of all, I want to congratulate some of you because for some of you, this is not your story right now. I see you and hear you in the comment section. We've been talking and engaging. You've been asking questions, sharing stories, supporting each other, supporting me. And you've been taking and making big moves and taking action that is starting to already get you some results on the topics we've been talking about. And now for the raw and vulnerable part. I myself have a confession. Since our last video and admitting that I was flying the comfort plane and not devoting or taking the driver's seat of that plane to start riding and preparing for the Captivate retreat, I have not done that. I have not went into the driver's seat of my Captivate retreat planning performance plane. Instead, I went on a road trip with my husband and I stayed in the comfort plane. So I want to talk to you because today was the first day that I did something about that. We're back home and I actually started to take some action. But I want to tell you why. So patterns come up in our life and there's 3 things we can do about them. We can interrupt them with a different behavior, with some kind of support system, with some kind of abrupt change. We can create new patterns by actually committing to a ritual. Usually it takes at least 14 days. I find for me personally, 30 days of actively and intentionally taking a new action outside of that pattern to create a new pattern that will then happen subconsciously. Or we can do nothing. We can make excuses and we can prolong, we can choose to procrastinate, and then we suffer. And what happens when we do this is eventually we become anxious or we make ourselves really overwhelmed because things get more complicated because we've stayed in this pattern that isn't serving us. And there comes a moment that I have noticed when I do this in my life, and doing this last week, where it was feeling good to take this road trip with my husband, to take this break, but then suddenly what was comfort or how procrastination was serving me becomes an energy leak. And it switches into a spiral in my brain where I have self-sabotaging thoughts or where I make things more complicated and difficult for myself, where judgment loops in. And then that energy leak it sort of creates a funnel where then other bad things start to happen in our life, or we just start to feel really off and out of flow. And as I caught myself doing that today, I knew it was time to use my own resources. And I wanted to admit that to you before we started today's video because I thought I would be sharing this video with you from a place of having already used my resources and tools. But I prolonged again another week and didn't really start until today. And that's really painful for us. And sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom. In this case, it's not that desperate of a situation, and I know I'm going to be fine. I know my patterns so well that I have already created new structures for those to step myself out of them. For example, I know that this can be my routine when it comes to performing or when it comes to preparing or stepping into the spotlight. So months ago, I scheduled and booked voice lessons that I would have to have my music ready by the time I got there. And that voice lesson is happening in 2 days. So you can see that I know my pattern already and I have new habits that I've put in place to interrupt them. So I'm already kind of using what we talked about with the 3 things we can do with patterns. But if I hadn't known that and I hadn't set that voice lesson, you know, I hadn't learned this about myself, I might continue in this deprivation. And there are some other resources I want to share with you for this. So first, I want to help you to discover which of the two categories you're falling into. And the first resource that I use to help catch myself in these moments of pattern recognition or doing nothing about the things that are not serving me in my life, the confusion, the lack of clarity, whatever it is I live and breathe by these two quotes that I want to share with you today. And the first one is about anxiety. So as I share these quotes with you, I want you to feel in. Are you, when we are talking about the subjects that we've covered, so we've talked about birthing something in your life. Maybe it is that you're birthing a baby. Maybe you're birthing a business. Maybe you're going through a personal transformation, an identity shift, and you're birthing a new version of yourself. When it comes to that topic that we discussed in our first video, or when it comes to priorities and masculine and feminine energy and all the planes that you have in the air, your dreams and your goals, the things that you want to focus on, the things important to you in your life that you value, how are you prioritizing those? And when it comes to prioritizing them or not, are you experiencing either anxiety or overwhelm for either of these scenarios or both? So I'm going to share with you these two quotes, and as you listen, I'd like for you to try to identify which category is more prevalent for you right now. Which one are you falling under? So let's start with anxiety. Anxiety is the mistaken belief that something could go wrong. Anxiety is the mistaken belief that something could go wrong. So is that where you are when you think about birthing your business, your baby, or this new version of yourself? That something could go wrong, that you could do it wrong, or something could happen to you because you don't know what you're doing. Or when you're thinking about prioritizing, that something could go wrong. You could pick the wrong plane. You could lose sight of what's important. Or is it overwhelm? And overwhelm is the mistaken doubt that the resources are not available to fulfill your wants and needs. Overwhelm is the mistaken doubt that the resources are not available to fulfill your wants and needs. So when it comes to that birthing process for you, are you more in that category of overwhelm where you just feel that there isn't a way for you to do this, or you don't know what to do and it doesn't exist out there? Or when you think about your planes and which one to fly, do you feel like you're just not resourced enough to be able to make the decision to just be in the driver's seat of one at a time or to handle a few of those? Which category are you falling into, anxiety or overwhelm? So once you identify that, I'm going to give you 3 resources for each category. And what I want you to do is use one of those resources today. I want you to commit, as we have been, to living out loud and to taking action today, together. That we don't let energy leaks happen anymore where we continue to live and suffer, but we actually make a difference right now. Maybe if you're like me, you've watched these 2 videos, you've seen where you've had struggles, you've made some really big recognition and aha moments, you've went in the comments and got great advice, and you've done nothing about it and you're still continuing to suffer. Today is the day we stop that. And we're going to do it by taking action with one of these resources, and you're going to do it also by continuing to live to your commitment and share in the comments below so that we can really support each other in sisterhood and not try to power through this alone. So the second part of this quote, before I give you the resources, is just this simple quote is a resource in itself. And what I remind myself when I feel that I'm falling into anxiety or overwhelm or both is that anxiety, which is the mistaken belief that something could go wrong, this concept of going wrong is absolutely meaningless if you are committed to making sure that every experience you have eventually contributes to the openness and fierceness of your heart. So this idea that this belief that we have in our system that something could possibly go wrong is absolutely a fallacy if we just remember that if we go after something And if we are fully devoted and committed to going after what we want and desire to create with the fierceness and openness of our heart, there is no possible way that anything could go wrong. Anything that will happen under that experience is absolutely going to be a powerful, life-changing experience for us, meant for us on our soul path. And when it comes to the resources not being available, overwhelm, this idea that the resources are not available to fulfill our wants and needs, that is also such a joke when we think about how much resourcefulness is present within us, within our sisterhood, and within our community and our world. We have access to so much resource, so we just have to put ourselves out there and find those resources. And so that's what we're going to move into today. I'm going to share the resources with you that you can use if you're in anxiety or overwhelm or both. So let's start with anxiety. So for me, I'm more existing in anxiety right now. When it comes to preparing, I have this idea that something could go wrong, and I keep telling myself if I don't over-prepare, something will go wrong. So I feel this pressure to be totally prepared way in advance, even though I know I'll be fine if I wait a little longer, or I'm already so much more prepared than I'm giving myself credit for. But I have this belief in me somewhere that something could go wrong. So these are the resources I use and that I want to invite you to choose from today and take action on. There are 3 under anxiety. The first is you've got to get out of your own head, being alone, and get to be in person in a group of people who have mastered or are a powerful model for what it is that you're in doubt about, or the way that you think that it could go wrong. You need to be around people who are doing it right. You need to have resources and powerful models of people that you can look to really be in person around, to pick up on their energy, to snap out of your head, and to feel supported. So the way that I'm going to invite you to take action on that today is to buy your ticket to come with us to the Captivate performance. 1, you'll get to see what happens with my own anxiety and preparation, but 2, this is going to be a really powerful event where women are truth-telling and speaking, an audience full of empowered fempreneurs and goddesses and amazing women who are up to powerful things. And I don't want you to miss out on the energy and vibration of this powerful event. So get your ticket. This is one option of a resource you can use to be in person, to get out from behind your computer screen, to come be with us in the live theater, to meet and to be inspired, to hear the powerful stories of women who have really taken their mistaken belief that something could go wrong in their lives and created them into powerful stories and successes. Please be there. That's your first option. And if you can't come to the Captivate performance, then I need you to pick an in-person event that you're going to go to by the end of the year and book that ticket today, somewhere where you can get in with other powerful thought leaders and like-minded women who are succeeding at the thing that you want to succeed at. Get your body there and in person. The second resource that I personally use is a daily ritual. And a lot of you who have joined me in Mentor Masterclass or the Sisterhood Mastermind have used my personal daily success ritual course. It's a quick course, $29. It helps you create your own daily ritual, but most importantly, this daily ritual that I use and that many of you use, and if you don't have it, I want to invite you to go get it. This daily ritual helps you to actually use NLP, neuro-linguistics programming techniques, that reform the patterns in your brain. We can't start our days on autopilot and expect that we're going to get extraordinary things done. We have to have powerful intention. We have to be able to work through blocks. If you watch any interview with anyone who's extremely successful, when asked, what is it that helps you keep the success, they will tell you that they have a powerful daily routine and ritual that they use to alter their state of mind to become the most empowered version of themselves. And if you have a ritual that you find you're just not doing, you're not committed to it, you keep falling off of it, you forget to do it, the reason that's happening is because you haven't created a powerful ritual that's actually getting you results, that's making you shift. If you did, you'd be naturally motivated to do it every single day. So I want you to really think about that. And if you did my daily ritual, course and you're not finding yourself committed to it, you may have done something wrong. So let's talk about it and really make sure that you got the full benefit out of creating that course. So for your second option of action today, if anxiety is the thing that is present for you, is to create a daily ritual. And there's a link below this video to go access my creating course that you can get instant access to right now and start creating that daily ritual that will be really powerful for you. Or figure out the most important elements of a daily ritual and create your own. If you buy the course, everything is included in that to really help you create a ritual that has everything you need to change your state of mind, empower yourself, step into your purpose, and work through your blocks. The third and final resource that I want to offer you is one that I use every day. Even when I'm not taking action, I'm still using this resource. But the most important part of this resource, there's two parts. Archetypal healing has been a game changer for me, really studying the goddess archetypes. And the most simplest way to take action on this is to use your goddess cards. So you can pull a card, which is what I do every day. Just pick a card to find some guidance from an archetype. When we look at these goddess archetypes as women, what it helps us to do is to discover another part of ourselves and our energy system, these archetypes that live within us. So when we are not in our most empowered state, we are actually learning the other parts of ourselves we have access to that we can try on and integrate to work through problems or blocks that are coming up in our lives. And I want to invite you to do this by getting a goddess deck. I use the Doreen Virtue goddess cards. Many of my students already have these. You get them in your welcome box and into a masterclass. But if you don't have them, order them on Amazon, or really start to find a way, if you're ready to do this work deeper and not just go on the surface of this, but you really want to understand archetypes and how they exist and how they can serve you, get into some kind of program or training where you learn more about it. So I have a mastermind that I lead every year. It's called the Sisterhood Mastermind. And we are starting to take applications for this mastermind. In this mastermind, each month we work with a goddess. And we really dig into how this goddess archetype how we can integrate the intention into our life and bring that aspect of ourselves out. And not only is this resource about this goddess and archetype training to help you work through anxiety and patterns, but this is about having a mastermind. This is about having a core group and a coach that's devoted to you, a sisterhood and community, and a coach who's devoted to bring you the resources that you need and to help you really heal that belief system that something could go wrong so that you have a stronger, grounded belief in your own self as your own mentor and in your own ability to be supported by a sisterhood and to trust yourself and your belief system to work through problems and take action. So I am always committed to this goddess study and integration into my life, and also always have a mastermind of my own. And below, I have shared a link to the Sisterhood Mastermind. So if you are ready to take that action as your choice today to apply, then that's available for you. And if that isn't the one that's speaking to you, then make sure you consider what is going to be your support group, who is going to be your coach for the rest of the year or for 2016, next year, so that when anxiety comes up, you have this. So pick one of those three and take action on it now. I'm going to share some links below so that you have an instant resource to use, or you can find your own, but the point is do it today. That's what we're committed to together. So 1, an in-person event so that you can meet models that will help you to see how to succeed and work through the blocks that you're experiencing. A daily ritual that actually works, that has high-level coaching techniques integrated so you're doing some work with your pattern shifting and your neural pathways. And studying the archetypes that exist, or bringing goddess integration or a mastermind into your life so that you can have a community and a coach to work through these things with. All right, so now moving on to those of you who resonate more with overwhelm. If you're feeling like the resources are not available to birth this thing in your life, or to figure out what plane is the most important, or how this whole plane metaphor and priority thing even works. If you have a million different priorities and you're so confused and nothing is really happening or driving toward those ideal airports that you really desire. These are the 3 resources you can use and take action on today to stop waiting and suffering. The first is, I really believe, even if you don't want to be a life coach, I so believe in getting life coach training, because I don't know how we live. And sisters who are in Mentor Masterclass, maybe you can speak to this in the comments section. I was dumbfounded when I started my first life coach training program and realized how much we don't know about how to take care of ourselves and approach the world and our dreams and actually have those things be able to be in a sense of freedom and expansion rather than so blocked and so limited, until I started coach training and I started seeing how many resources are actually available to shift our internal game, our external world, and actually to get the things that we want. So if you don't have some kind of training, or you're not involved in some kind of personal development on a really committed degree where you have the space to dig in to these personal things that are happening in your head and in your heart, in your family systems, in your identity structures, then you need to find a place where you can receive that. And the first place to start is to have some kind of personal development program in a specific area that pertains to what it is that you're birthing or the planes that you're flying. So if it is, pregnancy, maybe you really need to be in a group where you're going to be educated about this experience and parenting and your health and your body and those things. If it is that you are launching a coaching business, you need to have actual life coach training to be supported, to learn how to market, how to prospect, and how to deal with personal blocks that are going to come up for you. So I'm lucky because I teach Mentor Masterclass. I get to relive this life coach training program over and over and do it with the women who are in it now. And I want to invite you, if you haven't got this kind of training yet, the link is below to send in your application. There are only 3 spots left for Mentor Masterclass for this whole year of 2015. So click that link and apply, or figure out how are you going to get some kind of personal development training where you can learn higher level skills for dealing with these blocks and patterns that come up in your life. The second option is to get a coach, to get a life coach of your own, to have a co-creator on this experience with you. That is the action I took today. As soon as I got home, I have 2 coaches. I have a spiritual healer and I have a strategy business coach. And I set a session with both of them for Monday this week so that I could get myself back on track and in support and have someone holding me accountable and helping me work on my belief system and to find the resources or think of the ones that feel like they're outside of my zone right now. So I have also discovered that for me, my favorite way of working is full immersion. And I have a new offering. I'm offering VIP full intensive days. And these days are devoted to really handling the things that we've been discussing in the first 2 weeks of this video series. One, really being devoted to the process of our birthing and having a clear strategic plan for the whole year around your scheduling, around your prospecting, around your income, around the creation of your business, around your niche. And when it comes to prioritizing and figuring out where to focus first, what plane to fly, how to juggle all the hats that you're wearing. A full immersion day like this where we can spend together is the kind of coaching I think that has the most immediate impact, where you get results quickly and you get to sort through all the questions that you have, and you don't have to wait for a 6-month or a 9-month coaching series where you only get an hour each time and you just start to dig into the deep stuff and then you have to take a break and come back with your coach. So I invite you to consider choosing to hire a coach where you can do a full day immersion. More coaches are offering this now, and I really believe in this kind of coaching. So find yourself a VIP full immersion day with a coach. And if you want to work with me, you can check out this new offering that I have below. It's very limited since I'm pregnant and giving birth. I only have a few spots for this, but if you follow the link below, all the information about setting up a VIP day for us to work together one-on-one is there. And if I am not the coach for you, then book that today. Book some kind of consultation with someone else where you can get a coach behind you. And the third and final option for Overwhelm, if you fall under this category, the resource you can use and take action on, is to create sisterhood and accountability in your life for most of my women watching this, I know that you have this resource. You have it in Mentor Masterclass. You have all of these things. You have me as your coach. You have the training. You have the sisterhood that I'm going to dig into a bit. You may want to consider the full immersion day if you're feeling like you're not clear, if you still need more one-on-one, really intricate attention. But for those of you who the first two resources aren't resonating, try number 3. This is creating sisterhood and community in your life and accountability. And you can use this series, this Wake Up Wednesday series, to do that if you stay committed to show up here every Wednesday and to be in that comment section declaring and using the tools we're talking about to wake up, to just wake up from that autopilot functioning from your week and really dig into what you need and declaring it with a sister and asking for accountability and support. So if overwhelm is you, if you're having this mistaken doubt that the resources are not available to fulfill your wants and needs, then 1, get some kind of personal development training where you're really learning and immersed in a training experience where the resources are going to be provided for you for what you need. 2, get a coach. Particularly look for some kind of VIP full-day immersion training. And 3, create sisterhood in your life that's consistent, get an accountability partner, or really show up for these Wake Up Wednesday videos every week and commit to being in that comment section actively engaged. Okay, I know that I'm bringing some fierceness today. That's because as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. And these are the resources that I use and that I integrate when I'm feeling myself having those energy leaks or I continue to choose suffering. And today that ends for all of us. Today that energy of continuing to procrastinate and choosing that, or just staying in that overwhelm, or just choosing to be confused, it actually is a choice to call ourselves confused and to say we can't figure it out. We've had enough resourcefulness over the past few weeks to make a decision about how to move forward. So let's do that now. Let's choose one of those actions, either one of the 3 from the anxiety or one of the 3 from the overwhelm, and do it today. Click that link, find your own, make a decision, make a change, set yourself up for success. Really step into the energy of commitment around your future, around what you're calling in, around the experience that you want to have. And I promise with full devotion that when I come back next week, I'm going to have a report for you of how this action has shifted my energy leak and experience. And I know I'll be sitting in a place of feeling confident and prepared so that when I show up to this Captivate performance, where I hopefully will see most of you live, I will feel confident and ready and be able to be in the moment because I've prepared the way that I should have by looking ahead and really taking the action that felt aligned for me. And also next week, I want to give you a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about. Next week is going to be probably the most raw and vulnerable video I've shared. I'm going to release a audio version of my one-woman show last year, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the stories in your life that you're not telling, and why it is that we hold on to these past stories or these painful experiences we've had because we just don't know how to talk about them or we don't know if it's okay. And I want to talk to you about how you can do that and why it's important that we tell our story and how your life can change when you finally do start telling your personal story that has made you the magical being that you are. Not from a place of victimhood or needing attention or even support, but from a place of empowerment and leadership. I can't wait for our final video in this series next week and to see you in the comment section today to know what it is that action that you're going to take. And I'll be back next week with more from this series for you and our final video. I love you, sisters. I'm so thankful that you're here and supporting me and that we can step into this energy of commitment and action together. We're making really big changes. I can feel it these few weeks, and I'm just really thankful that we get to do this and be here in this conversation together. I'll talk to you soon.